How's it going, everybody? It is the Keenest Fox here today, and this is my channel where I usually talk about anime, video games, and cartoons, but today we might actually start talking about a little bit about comic books and American comic books. I mean, honestly, this isn't a must-watch, but I'm just basically going to be talking about a back and forth debate that I had on Twitter 2 days ago and whatnot, because there was this, because the word on the streets is that Robin, Tim Drake, the third Robin, is bisexual and stuff, and yeah, you'll probably hear my stance on it, and my stance just against it, actually. So, I mean, you're allowed to agree to disagree with me, it doesn't really matter, and please don't send any hate towards, like, some of these people, like, we're not hate, but no, like, well, yeah, hate, please don't, like, harass them or whatever on my behalf. I'm capable of taking care of myself to some extent, so, yeah. But anyways, I just wanted to bring up a lot of points and stuff because, yeah. So let's get into it. So anyways, if you don't know who Tim Drake is, Tim Drake is, well, if you are familiar with Batman and Robin, you obviously know who Robin is. He's the young sidekick and the partner to Batman and stuff. And over the years, there have been like many like characters who have donned the name Robin. Mostly like 5 people, most notably, or 4 most notably, not counting Stephanie Brown, I guess. But yeah. So the first Robin, as you know, is Dick Grayson. He's the first, the original. He later on becomes the hero known as Nightwing. Then there's Jason Todd. Jason Todd was Robin for a little bit, for about a year or so, and then he got killed off, and then they brought him back many years later as Red Hood, this little gun-toting Punisher-esque type of villain. I mean, anti-hero, my bad. But yeah, Red Hood. And then we have the third Robin, which is Tim Drake. That is Red Robin and stuff. Tim was Robin for a while, all the way up from like the late 80s, all the way up to like somewhere around the 2000s until Damian Wayne showed up, and then yeah. And then if you don't know who Damian Wayne is the son of Bruce Wayne. So let's talk about Tim Drake. So recently, the word on the streets is that Tim Drake is now being presented as bisexual by this writer, Megan Fitzmartin, right? Yeah, this is her Twitter account. So, yeah, and I'm just like, because I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say I'm the biggest DC Comics fan or whatever, but for the most part, I actually do like Tim Drake. I read some of the stories and stuff, like Red Robin and the 1993 Robin, which I thought was pretty good comics. Like, because I'm not really much of a comic book fan. Like, the only comics that you probably know that I read, and you could probably already make some guesses already, but it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Sonic. Like, that's literally it. I just read those two, and maybe sometimes Usagi Yojimbo. But yeah. So, anyways, let's get into it. And not to mention, I kind of grew up with this Robin, back from like Batman and New Adventures and stuff. So like, yeah, like, so if you like are familiar with this Robin and whatnot, then yeah, that's Tim Drake. But at the time, I thought he was Dick Grayson. I was like, who's Tim Drake? But yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I'm just gonna tell you just the reasons why this doesn't work. Now, I know I made a video, called, the old Salicol thing, and you could probably make the same claims here. And I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. That, oh, well, it's okay for me to think that, oh, well, Sally and Nicole are bi out of nowhere, but then, oh, well, I'm totally against Tim Drake being bi. Well, yeah, but let me explain here, at least with Sally, with Sally Cole and stuff. At least with Sally Cole, like, it's written by, like, Ian Flynn, where Ian Flynn was kind of doing it under the table. He didn't just outright make Sally and Nicole, like, oh, a couple and all that stuff. Like, I'm like, no. He was like, well, it's possible they can have feelings for each other and whatnot. So yeah, so you can take it for whatever you want. It could be your own headcanon, it can't be, but yeah, he was building up. Him and his wife Aaliyah Baker were building up to that. But it's not like it's like, oh, well, this is being marketed to pander to like people who are bi or whatever. Like, this is exactly what they did with Tim Drake, and this is disingenuous. This is like disgusting. Like, why would you? Yeah. And I think Tim Drake as a character, like, I think he's had a really big impact on like the role as like being Robin, because like his costume is like very unique. Like this costume here that you see, this is the costume that the costume that Dick Grayson was wore in like Batman the animated series, and that's the costume that Tim Drake wore in the '90s and stuff. Like that's not what Dick Grayson ever wore, but you can see here in the 2005 Teen Titans show that, or not 2005, my bad, 2003 Teen Titans show that he wore this, or in the 2005 the Batman show, Robin wore that. Yeah, similar to Tim Drake. Not to mention the whole bow staff thing. That's also Tim Drake's thing. That's not Dick Grayson. That's not Jason Todd's thing. Not even Damian Wayne's. That's actually Tim Drake's thing. I mean, yeah, they're bow staff fighters, but yeah, that was Tim Drake's thing. So I think this character really does have a major influence on the whole role as Robin. So, anyways, let's see. So let's get into it. Alright, so I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of looking for a little bit of some trouble here. You were looking for trouble? Yeah, I was looking for some trouble and stuff. So I went on Twitter after I found out the writer, and I just wanted to ask, like, what was the intent? So let me read off some of this stuff. So the person, this isn't the writer, but this, I think she's like an artist or something. She's like, I'm still amazed of all this. These past few days are so overwhelming that I'm even confused. I want to thank again all the love and support, even those who came around spreading hate, insults, and wishing me the worst, asking to get fired from DC. Because I'm fine and will be fine. The only thing I wish to do for you is to understand. Sorry, my voice is starting to crack because I don't know. Is to understand, and I think you will, because nothing will stop this progress. In fact, thank you for letting us know how this resonated with a lot of you and how important visibly is for you guys. As my partner, this is Megan Fitz, what you call it, said perfectly. You're all incredibly loved, important, and seen. Yeah, I think I want that. Love. Alright, so I wanted to at least keep it respectful. I mean, of course I did come here well, I don't want to stir, like, I didn't want to, like, you know, be out here calling people names and stuff, but I was looking for a little bit of an argument, which I actually did get, so I am a little happy about that. But yeah, that's my Twitter. Sorry, so I'm like, this isn't coming from a place of hate or bigotry, but how did you come up with this idea, if you don't mind me asking? So I get no response, and I'm all like, alright. So I'm like sitting around for a couple hours or something, and I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely not getting that response. So you know what? I was like, you know what? Like, just fuck it. Where's that comment that I had where I was all like, just said fuck it, and they just aired out the whole thing. I was like, alright, yeah, right here. I don't see the value of retconning a character's sexual orientation, then put him as like this pedestal of being this bi, just being bi the entire time instead of actually building up his character from the ground up. This basically just took an established character and just tacked on something he's not, you know? And again, back on topic with the whole Sally Cole thing, it's not like being bi with Sally's character or whatever. Sally was still in character, and again, I actually trust Ian Flynn and Aaliyah Baker more so than this writer to at least not make Sally's entire character be around her whole sexual orientation. Like, do you, like, if anybody is aware of, like, who Iceman is, like, Iceman from the X-Men and Marvel Comics, like, Iceman, he's, like, the second actual X-Men. He was a part of the first team and everything, one of the founding members. He was, like, one of the youngest at the time. He was, like, this practical jokester and everything, and then, like, a couple years ago, like probably back in the 2010s, they ended up making Iceman gay or something, and then from then on there, it just became like Iceman's entire, like, his whole personality and his character, and that's just like, yeah, that's not interesting whatsoever. So, anyways, but I only got into one argument with this guy named Cates. Again, please don't try to harass this guy or whatever, but yeah, I just like to look back and just be all like, oh man, this is gonna be fun. Remember that time that I got into a debate with this one guy? And he's this bisexual guy. I think he's like 19 or something. It says so in his bio. But whatever. Yeah, so I'm like, alright. So he's like, it's not retconning anything. He wasn't bi before, and he never showed any interest in men for over 3 decades. Oh wait, that's what I was saying, my bad. He's like, it's not a retcon. And I was like, but he never showed any interest in men for over like 3 decades. Like, because Tim Drake has been around for at least over 30 years, right? And he's always been, well, a straight white male character. I mean, simple. Um, and he's already been fleshed out, and he's always like, and he's had plenty of writers and stuff who have been like building up this character for years and stuff. So I just feel like, oh, and now like, yeah, because just imagine this: you have a character who's already established, who's already likable, who isn't just a one-dimensional. Because if this is like a one-dimensional character or something, or a carbon cutout with like no personality, and it's been around longer, like as long as Tim Drake, then yeah, I don't mind. Oh well, they just made him bi or something, or oh lesbian. But that's not Tim Drake. Tim Drake is actually a fleshed out character. Before this happened, he was already like an established character and whatnot, with personality, with relationships to like Batman and Superboy and everyone, right? Um, right, or whatever. Just that's Tim Drake. Okay, so this just feels like, okay, well, this writer is like, all right, let's ignore all that popularity that all the other writers have built up, and I'm just gonna write off that wave and just put that he's bisexual and just make that the yeah. I'm like, that's lazy. Like that is like the definition of lazy writing, right? Like, and I even told the guy in this debate that basically I'm like, dude, these characters are just serving as a sock puppet and whatnot. You're just serving as just a sock puppet for the writer or whatever, just to pander to people or whatever. Be like, yeah, because oh well, you don't like bisexual people. Oh well, you like Tim Drake. Well, he's bisexual now, or it's just projection or whatever. But yeah, so the guy's like, it really isn't, and he's gonna be putting up these like images and stuff of like I guess actors or stuff from movies or whatever. So I'm like, all right, whatever. And he's like, it really isn't, but okay. And then I'm like, and I just literally pull up the definition of what a retcon is, and that's pretty much, yeah. So I'm like, all right, retcon, because I just wanted to be funny, but I'm also being like dead ass. I'm like, it's introducing a piece of new information that imposes a different interpretation of previously described events. And then he's like, it's not a retcon because Tim Drake was never outright stated to be super straight. So I'm like, I honestly didn't realize he ever announced in the comic that he was super straight ever. And I also didn't realize him coming out immediately invalidates the relationships he's had in the past. I mean, again, it's still bad. I mean, like, yeah. Believe what you want to believe. I mean, if you want to believe he's bi, then okay, have at it. But, I mean, this isn't helping the current state of comics and their sales. Tim doesn't have to be described as a super straight, white, cisgender male. It's been consistent with his character until now. Clearly their sales are fine to them. Him dating women has always and will always be consistent. He just realized he's not on one side of the aisle anymore, and that's fine. It's also shown in the comic when he constantly questions what he wants and what he likes. So, yeah. Anyways, so basically the guy is trying to justify the writing and stuff and all the other writing and stuff, because I tend to bring up other stuff like Captain Hydra and what else? And Iceman and all that stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, bro, the current state of comics is shit. I mean, didn't that thing I Am Not Starfire, like, trust me, that was terrible. Like, I didn't buy it, I read it online, because I was waiting for that to come out online, because I'm like, oh my god, I know this is gonna be, like, this is bad, like, because I already said before, like, the writer, on one of my videos, that the writer who wrote that comic had blocked me on Twitter, because I just said this comment, like, I wasn't, like, joking, actually. I was just like, because at first I didn't recognize, like, because when I was like, that's Starfire's daughter, I was like, I hope this is not canon. I was like, yo, that almost looked like an overweight version of Raven, and when I would have never have guessed that was Starfire's daughter. And it's not. I'm like, well, it is, and apparently in this canon, but I'm like, but she looks almost nothing like Starfire. Yeah, if anything, she looks more like the writer and whatnot. So in other words, it was a self-insert. But anyways, yeah, but people don't like stories like I Am Not Starfire. Look at Marvel. They ended up having to backpedal on that whole New Warriors thing, because like they were gonna like announce it and stuff, New Warriors and whatnot. It was like this band of like, just, I don't know, just, I guess, like, oh well, you have one character who's non-binary, you have one character who's like who's a female, well, not female, who's a more feminine version of the non-binary chick, You have, what else do you have? You have, Jesus, this overweight girl and whatnot named Trailblazer. I'm like, what? And then this one guy who actually did have a nice design, but is like, oh, well, internet gas. And then you have this one forgettable character named B Negative, who's like this stereotypical goth kid. So I'm like, oh god, this is gonna be terrible. And yeah, they didn't release it, which is the sad part. I'm like, damn, they knew this was bad from the get-go. But anyways, yeah. So the current state of comics, it's pretty bad. But hey, if DC like wants to be insane, all right, have at it. So yeah, that's exactly why everyone is making like more interesting and like just taking a more interest in manga than the current state of American comics. They must be so proud. Tim was already a fleshed out character before it's coming out, and there are other good gay bi characters who could use more focus. And just to be clear, I'm not against homosexuality or anything. I'm not against having gay characters, gay heroes, gay villains. I'm not against it because there already are gay characters and stuff. Even lesser known ones. Like, I mean, come on. Like, tell me how many people know who Jericho is. All right. All right. So this is Teen Titans, right? And this is Jericho. Jericho, if you don't know, is the son of Slade Wilson. You know, Deathstroke. So the thing about what's his face about Jericho is that Jericho is mute and he's also bisexual, but not a lot of people, unless you actually read comics or if you, yeah, like just know your lore, then you know, yeah, Jericho is bisexual, right? Yes, this character right here. And he's actually been around a lot longer than Tim Drake. So I'm just saying, like, yeah, um, that's a character. Well, what about, let's see, Negative Man from Doom Patrol? He's bisexual. So, yeah, there's plenty of characters, trust me. But just making Tim Drake a character who's always just been straight and white, or whatever, just straight white male, just make him, oh, well, basically he plays for the other team now. Or, you know what I mean, like, basically he's gay. Anything but straight. Alright, so this guy's like, I don't give a fuck. About manga and its sales. Clearly DC doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to DC. This is the whole everyone is jumping ship because American comics are getting too political now. Take is like really stupid, honestly. You're mad for obviously no reason. He's bi and that's it. I mean, when I like to read comics, I don't like to read about somebody else's politics. You know, I mean, it's just annoying. Like, and it's one-sided and like biased and everything. It's like, yeah, I mean, if I wanted to like read an interesting story about politics, or watch an interesting story about politics, I'd probably watch Star Wars or something, or whatever, or something like revolving around that, or maybe Full Metal Alchemist, or what's another good show with politics or something that's actually handled competently, or maybe Naruto. But yeah, at least yeah, it has some excitement in it, you know. He's not, I'm like, he's not, and it's an insult to the, like, oh yeah, I was like saying that he's not bi, it's an insult to the legacy of the character who the writer has no ownership over. And you're right, DC doesn't care because they keep repeating the same mistakes. They're making it, they're making with their audience and not learning from them. That's the definition of insanity. I literally went to Google, searched, yeah, and just was like, yeah, this is the definition of insanity. If you're gonna keep doing, like, making the same mistakes over and over again with your characters, then yes, that's like, yeah, with your characters and your audience and stuff, then yes, that's insane. So, sounds to me like they just got you hooked on their own bait and exploring his sexuality doesn't work for his character when he has other things going for him as is. There are like already gay characters in the Bat family. I mean, well, there's actually one other gay character in the Bat family, and that's Batwoman. That's Kate Kane. Like, I don't, as far as I'm aware, I don't think anybody had a concern, like, had anything against, like, Batwoman for being, oh, well, she's lesbian or anything. Like, no. Actually, I think I remember hearing that there was some backlash, because Batwoman, I think, in the comics a long time ago was supposed to be getting married to her, like, girlfriend, Maggie Sawyer. She's, like, the Superman character and stuff. She's a police officer and stuff. She's also lesbian. That they were supposed to be getting married, but then DC ended up backing out on the wedding or something, and that like pissed off a lot of people. So yeah, I mean there was that. And then he's like, he keeps arguing that he's bisexual, not gay, I'm just saying gay because I mean, no, they're basically just trying to make Tim just homosexual. I mean, yeah, I know there's a difference between being gay and bi and being lesbian, bi, and all that. I get it, but still, uh, it's all homosexuality in the end. So, what do you want me to say? So just tell me you don't understand the term and just be done with it. Yada yada yada. He keeps focusing on that. I'm like, bro, they're basically just making Tim gay. Just like they did with Iceman. Because Iceman has dated women in the past, and then out of nowhere, he has like, oh, well, Jean Grey figured out he has gay thoughts, and then figures out that Iceman's gay, and then apparently adult Iceman's also gay, but it's just been in the closet. Alright, so I'm like, it's unfortunate that Tim is becoming like the new Bobby Drake, yeah, this is where I address it, of DC Comics. Instead of badass Red Robin and temporary Batman Beyond we once knew. Yeah, because like Tim Drake, like he was pretty much of a badass. It was like Red Robin. I mean, I recommend reading that run. Like I think Christopher Yost, he's like he's like comic book writer. He created X-23 from Wolverine and all that stuff. Yeah, he was a pretty good ass writer. For at least like I've seen some of his shows like Wolverine and the X-Men or X-Men Evolution, and I'm like, damn, this guy is good. And then I'm reading Red Robin. I'm like, yeah, because usually, I don't know, when it comes to like superhero stories and stuff, like at least with DC or Marvel, I can only be hooked on it for so long. It's like, oh, it might be dragging or something, but this is legitimately good. Like, yeah, it has my blessings. There's like, he can be bisexual and badass. It's really like simple. Bobby being gay wasn't a bad thing either, except for the fact that it became his entire character when he was like the one of the founding members of the X-Men and the practical jokester. Now he was just like he has a rivalry with Dakin. And if you don't know who Dakin is Wolverine's gay son and stuff. Nothing wrong with him being gay, but he's Wolverine's son, who is evil and shit. And basically, like, literally him and Iceman, like, have no connection with each other whatsoever. Maybe through Wolverine, and maybe besides being gay, but they have never interacted. As far as I'm aware, I don't think they've ever interacted on like a personal level beforehand. So it makes no sense for like Iceman to be taking on Dakin, especially since like if you don't know who Iceman is, I mean Iceman, this dude is an Omega level meaning like Iceman is like a planetary threat, or actually no, even greater than that. And he's fighting, and he has a rivalry. He has a rivalry with Dakin, Wolverine's son. I mean, no offense to Wolverine, but Wolverine's not exactly a top tier mutant like that in terms of ability, and neither is his son Dakin. So I don't see why. Yeah, and I'm like, this is basically like just a defensive. Like it's literally just it's offensive to like to gay people, bro. It's like that Q-Force thing. Yeah, on Netflix, that shit was, oh my fucking god, that shit was terrible. The Netflix was all like, oh, well, what was Netflix like? Yeah, they put out that damn thing, Q-Force. It was stupid. So here's some of the other replies. He's like, you do realize that comics are in the works over the course of a year plus, right? So he's saying that, oh, well, there are more other comics coming in the year, so it's not like they're going to go bankrupt instantly, but they are losing fans, and the minority that they're trying to pander to barely buys any comics at all, so I don't know about that. Because he is canonically bisexual in the main DC universe, he likes girls and guys. You know, and this is what I'm like, you know, when I read a Batman story, I expect, like, mystery, drama, and heroics, not someone else's one-sided political view. These characters are just sock puppets. Yeah, that's the part where I was like, yeah, these characters are literally just sock puppets to these writers. But I guess you're just too stupid to realize you're being insulted. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of stole that one from Young Ripper and whatnot. If you don't like, yeah, I recommend watching some of Young Ripper's videos. That guy is hilarious. But he definitely calls it how it is. He is, yeah, usually on point. But yeah. And then this guy's like crazy because there's never been many crybabies where there's a comic focusing on the relationship between Bruce and Selina. And I'm like, there hasn't been too many people who talk about that. I'm like, I didn't really understand what he was saying, but I was like, nobody, like right now, that's not that's not what's in question. Like nobody cares about Batman's like relationships at the moment, except for the time they canceled the wedding idea and whatnot, because a couple of years ago, yeah, like Batman and Catwoman were actually supposed to be getting like married or something, in the comics, but then Tom King, he wanted to, like, I guess just break Batman, so like Selina just like Catwoman just left him at the aisle, uh, just waiting there and whatnot, and then Batman was like all depressed and stuff, and yeah, and people just hated that comic. From as far as like I'm aware, yeah, people hated that stuff, hated that shit. They were looking forward to that wedding, and then bam, they just pull out the red carpet from under them or whatever. So yeah. But I mean, what people do take issue with is Captain Hydra, New Warriors, I Am Not Starfire. But I guess you're just too, yeah, but I guess you can't imagine why. Or hell, even Gotham High, people didn't like that either. And he's like, because anti-SJW crybabies who doesn't read comics get angry. And I'm like, you don't have to be an SJW to know what crap writing looks like. And he's like, so then why would you, so you would know that the Hydra Cap, I don't know why two people like this, why the Hydra Cap was a good plot line, if you actually read the comic. Now, I didn't read the comic, so I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm like, oh well, I can give you my overall thoughts. No, but I've definitely I've heard plenty of people who are like fans of the character or who actually, yeah, and it's like the evil Superman stuff, you know, like I'm making a comparison to that, and it's not even like, well, at least with the evil Superman stuff, it's like an Elseworld thing, but it's been done to death and it's getting like a little old. But with Captain Hydra and stuff, that stuff, like, that was pretty dumb. Because at the time I'm like, yeah, they're just doing it for shock value. But when I, like, yeah, and there was like a big uproar about it, and like a lot of people voiced their opinions about it, and I started looking into it and I'm like, yeah, they got a point. You know why it's a bad thing to have that whole Captain Hydra thing, making like Captain America a character who's been around for almost like 80 years to be like just a terrorist and stuff? Or, yeah, he's been around for 80 years, right? Yeah, like over 80 years, right? Like since the 40s, basically. Point is, Captain America's been around for a while, and yeah, 80 years, and he's always been more of like the embodiment of heroism. He's always been the embodiment of selflessness or whatever. Just, you know, yeah, I mean, sure, he might have like been dosed with the super soldier serum, but the serum, it just made him just, you know, well, that's what he's able to do. He's super strong and fast and all that. But what really makes Captain America is like his morality, you know? Like he's competent enough to like make, you know, like decisions or whatever, his own stuff. He doesn't let America or politics or whatever politicians dictate what he does or whatever. No, if he thinks something is bad, then he's going to do something about it. Or if he thinks, you know, like, yeah, that's Captain America, like Civil War, for example, like the law. If you read Marvel, like Civil War and stuff, the law was that basically every hero had to come out, or else they're going to be detained, or, well, not detained, they're going to be put in prison and stuff if they don't come out, like Daredevil or something, or whatever. But Captain America was like totally against this because this is like infringing on their rights and stuff, and this is terrible because it could put a lot of characters, like even Spider-Man, in jeopardy and whatnot. So yeah, that's pretty bad. So anyways, so this guy's like, so you didn't read, yeah, so my point being is like, they basically just made Captain America just Captain Hydra and whatnot, because he's a straight white, blonde guy and whatnot, and they basically, made the new Captain America Falcon, which, from what I hear, a lot of people don't like that either, especially because Falcon has always been his own character. You know, like, Falcon was like one of the first black superheroes back in the day, without the word black attached to it. And yeah, he was just like, oh, he's Falcon. Not Black Falcon, not Captain America or anything, and now making him like the new Captain America is basically just tokenizing him, and it's basically like a hand-me-down. But yeah. So I'm like, yeah, so there's no value of really like corrupting or turning heroes into like just, you know, just like, oh, well, just, I don't know, empty husk of themselves or whatever, or some kind of like, yeah, it's pretty dumb. So what is good about, like, what is it, like, what's so good about it? That's what I'm asking, because anonymously fans hated this with a burning passion. And like, can you imagine like guys like writers like who like Stan Lee, for example, because Stan Lee used to write for Captain America back in the day, or like, of course, the creators of Captain America, like Joe Simon or Jack Kirby, like can you imagine, like, you know, like, would they, like, yeah, like, those guys, all three of them, they have, passed away, unfortunately, at this point, but, like, it's just that people nowadays are just taking their characters and just trampling on them. And now you have actual people out here saying that All Might, because All Might is a more American hero than either Captain America or Superman at this point right now. And literally All Might was based off of these principles, off of Captain America, off of Superman and whatnot, to be like this inspiring hero and whatnot, who's just, you know, I guess incorrigible or incorruptible or whatever. But yeah, but back on topic with the whole buy Tim Drake thing. So why do I take an issue with this? Well, first off, I feel like it's a perversion that basically we just can't have Tim be a straight white male character, and you had to focus on his sexuality to make him interesting when you already have plenty of other things to make the character interesting. He's already a well fleshed out character. My second reason is it's generic as hell. Like, I feel like, okay, this has been done like a bazillion times already. It's been done with Bobby Drake in Marvel Comics. It's been done with like a lot of other characters inside DC, like, or not DC, or in comics in general. So this feels more like, I guess, like fan fiction, if anything else. Yeah, it feels like it's fan fiction. It's not good. Nobody's looking forward to this. People want to read Batman for the mystery and the action and the drama and stuff, not the, oh, well, Tim's coming out. Like, what? So yeah, perversion. It's cliche. It's inconsistent with his character. You can already imagine why, because again, over the years, like, Tim Drake has been dating like girls and stuff all before. He's been dating like Stephanie Brown. That's his most notable love interest. You know, if you don't know who Stephanie Brown is, Stephanie Brown is, spoiler, she's the fourth. I mean, yeah, she's the fourth Robin, or she was temporary Robin, and she's the third Batgirl, or the third person doing the whole Batgirl thing. Yeah, she was Batgirl for a while. And Stephanie's a really likable character. And then there's other characters too, like, I guess, I think his first girlfriend was Ariana, Dzinko, sorry, I'm butchering the hell out of the name. Zachinko. Then there was like Wonder Girl. There's like plenty, yeah, there's plenty of like girls that Tim Drake has been with. Tam Fox and stuff. Yeah, so this is the comic here. It's called Batman Urban Legends. If you want to go check it out, go check it out. But I just feel like Tim was just written way out of character here. I could be wrong, but yeah, just him trying to be more like Batman and stuff. I'm like, him trying to be like Batman. Like, you know, one of the things about Tim Drake was that, like, Tim was like, he never tried to be like Batman and whatnot. Like, yeah, there are parallels and similarities he has with Batman for sure. But where is it? Yeah, like, he has a lot of similarities and stuff to Batman. Like, right here, like, Ra's al Ghul has this, like, plan to try and get Tim and whatnot by going after his loved ones, and if you go after me, I'm gonna kill all your loved ones and stuff, and you can't be in one place at once. And then Tim is, like, mocking Ra's al Ghul by saying, you must have got me mistaken with Batman. I mean, unlike him, I actually have friends and stuff. Like, basically, he got all of his friends, like Superboy, Kid Flash, or, you know, that's Impulse, Bart Allen. What else? Manhunter, Batgirl, or that's, well, Stephanie Brown right here, Huntress, Man-Bat, Wonder Girl, or, well, Oracle took care of herself, and Damian and Batman. Well, that's Dick Grayson as well. But yeah, he got all of his friends. He was like, you almost got me mixed up with Batman. You could do this by myself. Or, yeah, thinking, yeah, trying to do everything by myself. I got friends who can help me out. But, yeah, so no, Tim is self-aware about, not trying to be like Batman. I mean, there are things he has in similarity, and, like, Tim is, like, the second world's greatest detective and everything. Like, he has potential even greater than Batman. So yeah. So, anyways, the things about Tim's character is that Tim, he compares his experience to being, Robin to, like, his grandpa, who is a World War II veteran, speaking of which, who served in, World War II when he was, like, 14 and won, like, some medals and stuff, so that's pretty respectable. This is where he says it right here. Let's see. He's just a fun character. I mean, like, obviously here he's staying with, he's on a date with, Stephanie Brown, that's spoiler. and stuff. He figures out that Stephanie was pregnant before their little relationship started, but he sticks around to try and take care of the baby alongside with her and stuff, which is pretty nice and also romantic. I don't think I would. I don't think I would be able to do that. Maybe, I guess, but yeah. And then here's like a scene where he's like hugging Bruce Wayne after, like, he's like, oh, because he's been presumed dead for a while, and he was like just happy to see him and stuff. Like, they have a nice genuine moment. They talk about girls right here. Huh? Talking about, like, yeah, Bruce is like, oh my god. It reminds me of my younger days with Selena, right? So yeah, and then they just go out and just yeah, have some fun. So yeah, these are nice genuine moments. Him on a date with Tam Fox and stuff. They look pretty cute together and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, and then here's a scene where he's captured and then he's about to get raped, and he's like, well, at least you say, yeah, he's like, well, we don't need any more Damian Waynes running around here. But hey, at least you saved me from a fate not quite worse than death, right down here. So yeah. So yes, but this is clearly out of character. The writer who wrote this character does not know what they're doing. They claim that they've seen like Batman the Animated Series and stuff, and that's how they know Tim Drake, which is fine, but again, Tim Drake inside that series was not exactly like himself in the comics. Like in the comics, Tim had already deduced that Dick Grayson was Nightwing, that Bruce Wayne was Batman, and he showed up literally on their doorstep to try and convince Batman, or convince Dick Grayson to become Robin again for Batman's sake. But that didn't work out, so Tim volunteered to be the new Robin and whatnot, and that's how that all happened. In the show, Tim had more of Jason Todd's background, where Jason Todd, he was an orphan on the streets and stuff, so they used it for like Tim's story in there. Since they, like, I guess they just skipped over Jason Todd in there, so yeah. But anyways, that's all I have to say here. I know this video has been out for a minute, or it's been, it's almost 40 minutes long. It's 37 right now, but yeah, this is all I wanted to share. I just thought this conversation was stupid. I think this is very disingenuous, and it's just poorly written. And whatnot, probably even more disingenuous, like, not even probably, this is much more disingenuous than, fucking J.K. Rowling's tweet. And I don't get nothing against J.K. Rowling, but I remember J.K. Rowling put out this tweet or something, or if there was something saying that, oh, well, Hermione's black in the Harry Potter stories, and I'm like, but if Hermione was black the entire time, then why'd you cast a white girl to play as Hermione in the movie, or like without at least saying anything? And then there's a contradiction here where Hermione's white face was sticking out behind a tree. So yeah. J.K. Rowling caught in the lie. But anyways, and then this, like I said, this is just disingenuous. It's perverted. It's indecisive. It's inconsistent, and it's just cliche. And like literally, the comic book, like the American comics, are just staring down a barrel basically at this point. So yeah, this is just yeah. I mean, like, and let me name off some characters before I go. All right. So here's some actual gay, some legitimate gay bi characters, or just gay, lesbian, or bi characters that they could actually focus on. But honestly, I don't think these writers should even write for them either, because they're just gonna make them, or just characterize them as just gay and make it their own personality or something, like they did with Tim Drake, or what they did with Bobby Drake. But now they're trying to do this with Tim Drake. So alright, so Batwoman. That's already one of the most iconic gay, lesbian characters inside DC Comics. So Batwoman, Renee Montoya. She's a police officer in Gotham City in Batman's universe. She's she ended up becoming the second Question and stuff in the comics. There's Maggie Sawyer. I mentioned she was a cop from Superman, and she was also engaged to Batwoman at one point. There's John Constantine. He's this mysterious detective guy who's who does dark magic or some shit. I don't really read DC like that, but I know I somewhat know who John Constantine is. There's Jericho. Again, like I said, Jericho is Slade's son and stuff. He's bisexual. He's mute. There's also Aqualad from Young Justice. I'm like, yeah, Aqualad. Aqualad's bi, right? Is he not? So yeah. I'm like, yeah, so plenty of characters. So just turning like, oh well, this is like, yeah, writing off the popularity of an already established mainstream hero, and just tacking on that, oh, and plus he's bi, so now you can, yeah, that's representation. That's not representation. That is just, that's a cheap ploy, bro. Alright, well, that's the end of my video. I hope you guys like, share, and subscribe. This is the Keenest Fox, and I am out. Peace. And until we meet again.